Thanks for joining us here on a Wednesday. I'm Marlon Bowling, your tour guide to the ag commodities. I am joined by none other than Mr. Todd Bubba Horwitz of BubbaTrading.com. And I want to get his thoughts on what's taking place here in the markets. Well, we had big gyrations. My gosh, Monday we had the supply and demand report. Soybeans went rocketing higher after that. Then they eased back a little the following night. Had a little follow-through buying, but then we had the CPI numbers yesterday that tanked the stock market. Today we had the PPI numbers. They were pretty much as expected, so kind of a non-event. Right now, where do you see everything when it comes to the ag commodity trade and also the outside market money that is waiting to either get in or get out of the ag trade right now? What's your view on that?
I think that there'll be more money flowing into the ag trade. I think that, again, nothing has really changed except that we continue to ignore the obvious that we're going to be short, and we're going to be short food supply. I think the equity markets are finally realizing that maybe it's not so good, and you're getting a little bit of a bounce this morning, but that's just what we call a dead cat bounce, or a little bit too much selling yesterday. But I would expect that the grains have probably seen their lows for a while. Now, it doesn't mean they're going straight up. It means they're going to, go up and go down a little bit, go up and go down a little bit. But each time they come down, they'll come down with a higher low. And I expect to see much higher prices as we get further and get closer. And when we finally recognize that the food shortage is not transitory like inflation is supposed to be, but actually a real problem, which should bring a real demand. Not to mention the overwhelming cost for farmers to produce, which means that prices better go up, but they're not going to produce.
All right, so right now on soybeans, we have November now 5 1/4 lower at 1473.5. We had been as high as 1489.5 overnight. Let's back up here and check the corn. On the new crop December contract, we are 4 3/4 lower at 688. Do you think that we're just kind of entering a little time frame where we're going to have very active harvest for the next few days, a couple of weeks actually, if we have pretty decent open weather? Are you looking for just kind of a temporary lull in the market before they can regain their footing on the other side?
Yeah, I think. Listen, I think we're still very early in the season, right? I mean, we're going to start harvesting, but it's going to extend for quite a while here. And again, I think we're going to find out that there's not as much there that we think there is, and that there's going to be a problem, which has to, by natural supply and demand measures, create higher prices. And I think you're watching some of the problems throughout the globe of food riots in different parts of the country because they don't have any. And I think that we'll be fine, except we're going to pay a lot more for it. But overall, I think there's going to be a world food shortage because of what's going on and what we had to back it up.
All right. So as we take a look at the wheat markets then to get everybody caught up to speed, on our quotes provided by Bar Chart, December Chicago wheat is now 1 3/4 higher. We're at 862.5, make it 2 cents higher now. So now it's starting to bounce off its earlier low by about 13 cents or so. In the Kansas City market, that had shown more strength earlier this morning, and it still is. December now 9 3/4 higher. We're at 943.5. And in the spring wheat, we have that December contract 9 3/4 higher at 941. Looking now at the cotton trade. Here it has turned a little lower today. Fairly narrow trading range, actually, for cotton. It's been having big, wide ranges here recently, but yeah, today we're at 102.11 as we speak. That would be down just 21 points. We're about 110 or 115 points off of our earlier high this morning. Well, Todd, great to talk with you again. Thank you for sharing a little insight on the markets. I appreciate that. Todd Bubba Horwitz of BubbaTrading.com. We'll be back in a moment, and we'll get you updated on cattle and hog market activity and a look at the wholesale pork trade next.